Horse and carriage. In the past, upon hearing these words, my mind would conjure up images of the Old West in an out-of-control carriage headed for disaster. The use of horses and a carriage, or chariot, has been around since before 2000 BC. Unlike today, these were primarily tools of war and a way to get quickly behind enemy lines while using the power of speed to do so. And until the use of the automobile became prevalent after World War I, the horse and carriage were an invaluable means of transportation around the world. In this episode of Augusta Outdoors, we'll learn about present-day carriage driving and a man who has been involved in it professionally since he was a child.
Long story, or short story I should say, is my father was a horse trainer. He was a horse trainer in England for the Queen of England. And I grew up there and became a trainer like him also and worked for the royal family until 1990, where I moved to America and started my own business here. Many people say that when you get older you'll get into carriage driving, and that's when you really appreciate it. I've been doing this since I was 5 years old, and it's just once it's inside you and once you enjoy it, you're going to be doing it forever. And it's something that generally people always return to. They'll do this sort of thing as a child with their grandparents or their parents, and they'll go and they'll do the hunting and riding and cross country and all that, and then they just sort of wander back to this type of driving, and it repeats again. They take their grandchildren out and the grandchildren come back again. It's a marvelous thing, it really is. Aiken is a huge hotbed for carriage driving in America. It really is. We do mostly competition carriage driving and pleasure driving in Aiken. There's also a coaching club, members that live here, but it's so diverse that there's anything and everything for everybody who wants to get involved with carriage driving in this. There's recreational driving, which is, you'll go out and you'll do pleasure driving, through Hitchcock Woods and parks and for your own pleasure. Then we have sport driving, which is what this type of carriage is used for, which is cross country, combined driving, or sport driving in a ring or arena, through hazards and cones. And then there's show ring driving, which is you'll also use a type of carriage like this, but you'll go in a ring up against other drivers, and compete against them. So there's basically three forms of carriage driving. This is what we call a full marathon vehicle. It's set up, the width is a standard size for competition. It's balanced differently. This one here has full airbags on it, which you find in modern vehicles. Disc brakes, turntables, turntable brakes on that. It's a very low carriage, stable carriage, wide platform that you can go fast turns and in and out of hazards pretty quickly with. Then we have other vehicles that for more sport driving or recreational driving, which will allow you to have passengers on the back, wagonettes, up to as many passengers as you can even possibly have on the back there. Again, they are wider, but they're more for trail driving. Suspension can be better, and then we have the antique vehicles as well. Carriage driving is a sport for every type of competitive or non-competitive driver. There's aspects of the driving that will appeal to everybody, whether it be full-blown competition where you're really going hard against people, or or you're just going out in the park and you're enjoying, like you said, the view and smelling the roses as you go past. Well, with a four-in-hand, you're really dealing with four minds of animals, different minds. They're vastly different from one to the other. You really have to be a psychologist working with the animals to find out where they want to be in that team, whether it's left side, right side, front or rear. And you really have to pay attention to that, and your mind also, so you've really got five minds yourself, and all four ponies that you have to work with, getting them in tune. When you go into competition, you have to get all four of those minds working together at the same time, and it's repetition, working together with the horses each and every day, but it's really a hard job. That's the hardest job, is getting all four minds balanced and equal on that one day for competition. It's a sport for everybody, it really is. You can do this, this is a sport for kings, queens and paupers, as I used to say, in England. Anybody can, I've done it. I've done it from, myself starting off at the very low end, and I've done it for kings and queens, and it's a sport for everybody, it really is.
See, she'd be thin if she chased the carriage instead of riding on it. I'm ready if you are.
Well, don't forget to say that's her gin and tonic there.
Yeah,
By the
yeah,
way,
that's the
Robert,
dog's gin and
I'm
tonic.
Jim.